All right, guys. The situation in the Middle East is heating up, and Iran has issued a warning to the United States that could devastate crypto in the markets if this does happen. And the weird thing about this is it actually might happen because the United States and other allies are obviously helping Israel repel retaliatory attacks by Iran. But Iran is saying they're going to see that as a hostile action. They might hit bases that belong to the United States, France, and the UK. And all of us have strategic assets in the Middle East. However, if they do that, Iran will be instantly annihilated. But they do have a big effect on global oil, and of course, any kind of escalation in the Middle East is bad. And of course, you always have to watch out for more terrorist attacks. Not like planned by the Iranian central government, but by splinter cell groups, and there are many of those out there. So this could cause even more both political and economic instability in the world. Economic instability mainly because of oil, and political instability because of random terrorist attacks, and also escalation of situation in the Middle East, possibly pulling more of the countries in that area. So, Hamedriza Azizi, a visiting fellow at German Institute for International and Security Affairs, told Newsweek that if Iran targeted U.S. sites in the Middle East in its U.S. sites in the Middle East in its response to Israeli attacks on its nuclear capabilities, the move could be catastrophic for the Islamic Republic. That would be very catastrophic for the Islamic Republic, but I do think they will actually do it. So basically, like Iran has said, its talks with the U.S. over the Iranian nuclear program are meaningless on its nuclear infrastructure on Friday. Tehran has accused Washington of supporting the attack. And I don't blame Tehran of accusing Washington for supporting the attack. Trump obviously knew about it because we withdrew a lot of our personnel there. And of course, what he said basically on live TV a little bit later did not actually help. He actually made it sound like he liked the Israeli attack. While the U.S. has denied the allegation that it is complicit in Israeli attacks, anticipation is building over whether American assets in the Middle East will get caught up in Iran's response. And they basically said that if we help Israel repel Iranian missiles, that they will attack U.S. assets. Of course, they continue to fire missiles on Israel on Saturday in its response to Israeli attacks on the heart of its nuclear program and armed forces. Now, Israel obviously is striking as well. This is devolving into a little bit of a mess. Yes, Israel has the superior military, especially with U.S. backing, but the question is how much do we actually want to back Israel at this point? And it will come at a cost to both economically and, of course, politically. But the economic part of it is what I want to talk about because economically, this will make inflation go up. At this point, oil is up another 0.71. The Dow is actually up today, but I don't really know what it's going to do when the market actually opens because everyone knows that this war is actually ongoing. Maybe it bounces back a little bit from last Friday, but I can't really see positive in the long term if the hostilities do not cease. And obviously, if Iran chooses to escalate this by attacking U.S. assets or UK assets, then obviously this goes to hell in a handbasket very, very quick. And this threat includes Persian Gulf states and naval vessels in the Persian Gulf and the Red Sea, according to the statement on Iranian state media. So they are like taking it up to like a new notch now because they see anyone that helps Israel with their defense, because Israel was the initial attacker, as hostile to Iran as well. The U.S. operates permanent and temporary military sites across at least 19 locations in the region, the Council on Foreign Relations said. Azizi said there was understanding in Tehran that everything happening now, Israeli strikes, and the broader military campaign was approved by Washington. And it could have definitely been approved by Washington. I think Netanyahu himself has a lot of pull power. And Trump is just going to basically go with whatever Netanyahu says and is going to be basically a rubber stamp for Israel. So, like in that sense, Iran might believe it already had enough justification to take on the U.S. and target American bases in the region, such as those in Iraq and member states in the Gulf Cooperation Council. thus expanding the scope of its target options. This would allow Iran to use some of its shorter range missiles to sustain the war instead of relying solely on its longer range missiles to target Israel, as Easy said. So obviously we have other assets in the area that can be hit with shorter range missiles. We definitely need to boost up our defenses then. But Tehran is considered such action would most certainly provoke a strong American response, possibly even more effective than Israel's, and it definitely would. But like I said, I'm definitely worried if that happens and it escalates, there's going to be more splintered cell terrorist attacks in the United States. So if that happens, I would advise you to avoid crowded areas where there are lots of people and maybe do some more shopping online and stuff like that, because really don't want to get caught up in any of that stuff until the situation cools down. Because like I said, even though the central government in Iran may not be able to plan that stuff, like splinter cells and jihadist groups can actually do that. So I would be very, very careful. And I think this will be very economically devastating to the rest of the world, partially because of oil. And I think like the oil trade is actually going to be disrupted, especially the Straits of Hormuz, if you actually have a prolonged conflict with Iran involving the United States. And obviously people will get nervous because of that, and that would drastically affect how it affects everything economically. So that's that. The other good news is that Bybit is unveiling a hybrid DEX on Solana. So Solana probably going to go up again. Remember, these more than partnerships or anything else will drive up price, because look at how popular Hyperliquid is, and maybe this will actually like rival something like that. So another big project on Solana, it's called BuyReal. And, if you see coins for BuyReal, or if they launch a coin, I'm not really sure if they are going to yet, you might want to get just a little bit to see how it goes. So Benzo announcing BuyReal, our first on-chain DEX incubated by Bybit. We will be live by the end of this month, starting from scratch and now born on Solana. What's special? One CEX plus DEX synergy. So it's a combination between CEX and DEX. BuyReal isn't just another DEX, it's combining CEX grade liquidity with DeFi native transparency. So bringing some of that liquidity to DeFi definitely could be a big thing. And obviously, Solana is going to be a very popular platform for this. The new platform represents Bybit's ambitious attempt to bridge the gap between centralized and decentralized finance, combining the liquidity advantages of traditional exchanges with the transparency and user control inherent in DeFi protocols. This is going to be kind of difficult, but we'll see how this turns out. And this could be the first of its type. BuyReal distinguishes itself through a sophisticated hybrid routing system that utilizes both requests for vote and concentrated liquidity market maker mechanisms. This dual approach is designed to deliver low slippage trading while providing robust protection against maximum extractable value MEV attacks, a persistent challenge in the DeFi space. So it aims to kind of like hit at DeFi's detriments, and obviously it's going to provide the user control and I guess the privacy of DeFi transactions. So like high liquidity plus, all the benefits of DeFi. I want to see if they can pull it off, but once again, you got to realize that the name of this project is called BuyReal. It's launching on Solana, and if you see that token on Solana, I think it might be a good buy. Obviously, the downside of this buy is this is kind of like a new project in a new kind of category. I don't think there's been a true attempt to hybridize CEX liquidity and DeFi transparency before, and this will be the first time. And obviously, with anything that comes the first time, there's going to be growing pains. There might be hacks. You know how often, exchange hacks happen, or at least DEX problems happen. Might actually happen here. And obviously, you're risking your money that way. But if you're looking for high ROI, this definitely might be one of the ways to go if you want to get in early on a project. I mean, if you got in early on Hyperliquid, you are making a boatload of money right now, because that coin is doing very, very well. Even in a less bullish market, it's already up to $44. And, it's gone up by leaps and bounds. And I do think this BuyReal thing has the same kind of potential. And obviously, it's on Solana, so there's not going to be any lack of users. And if it's actually really, really popular, people see that it actually has the liquidity of a CEX with all the efficiencies and, of course, all the benefits of the DEX. I think it'll actually get a lot of traction over Solana's other DEXs, and it could definitely take center stage, which would make the value of the platform go up. I don't know if they actually have a coin yet. I don't think they do quite yet. But like I said, they probably will announce one sooner or later for governance or whatever. And if they do, I think it's a good, it's good to actually buy early. Spend a couple $100 buying early, and it might 50 or 100x at that point. So it could definitely be the next new gem. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell notifications button. Thank you, and have a nice day.